All right, well, concerns of another potential Trump-Biden ticket in 2024 have raised the question of whether people will turn to a third-party challenger. Progressive activist Cornel West says he is now running for president to empower voters who he says have been pushed to the margins. As a member of the People's Party, West does face an uphill battle, including even getting his name on the ballot in every state. And it does appear, though, West has tapped into America's frustration with our two-party system. Our exclusive NewsNation Decision Desk HQ poll finds over half of Americans say they will consider voting for a third-party candidate. Let's bring in Julia Manchester now, national politics reporter with our partners at The Hill. Julia, thank you so much for your time. So there's this new poll here. Is it telling us more about what Americans want or what they don't want, when nearly half say they would consider this third-party candidate or a third-party candidate?
Well, Nichole, I think it tells us what they don't want, and they don't want another potential matchup between President Biden and former President Trump. Obviously, President Biden is the presumed Democratic nominee. He's leading the Democratic primary right now, hands down. And then President Trump currently leads the Republican Party. So we've seen polling from other outlets suggest that Americans are not interested in this matchup. But with a third-party pick, I mean, that kind of shows a frustration not only with Trump and Biden, but also overall with the two-party system. It's interesting here in Washington, there's been a lot of chatter about a new group called No Labels, and No Labels is essentially pushing towards a potential third-party presidential bid. Now, the group first needs to get on the ballot in a number of states, and there's been some difficulty there, but the group's also been tied to Senator Joe Manchin, the conservative Democratic senator from West Virginia. So he's been floated as this potential contender. So a lot of speculation here, and that's all what this is currently in regards to Joe Manchin and No Labels. But in terms of the poll, I think it shows that Americans are upset with the status quo.
Well, speaking of status quo, Julia, so many times it seems like every day we're talking about the Republican side of things because there's a new person throwing their hat into the ring, right? Let's focus, though, on the Democratic side. Obviously, there's currently a Democrat in office, yet we are already starting to see challenges on the Democratic side. The president's approval ratings right now truly are dismal. Should Democrats be concerned?
Look, I think they should absolutely be concerned about a potential matchup, whether it's between Trump and Biden or DeSantis or Biden and any of the other Republicans running in the primary. Look, I think, obviously an incumbent president sometimes has an uphill road to climb when it comes to running for re-election. Americans sometimes, want change, want to change to the status quo. And I think it's very telling that we've seen Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's running in the Democratic primary, even though he hasn't gained enough traction to really seriously challenge Joe Biden. I think it's telling that we're all talking about him and that there's being stories written about him, that he's getting some support in the polls. So I think it shows that Democrats, may be a little uneasy about their current pick of Joe Biden, but right now he is hands down, the favorite to get the Democratic nomination and the presumed Democratic nominee.
All right. So, Julia, speaking of dismal, right, because we were just talking about ratings, let's look at more of this poll, because 81% of Republicans think the country is on the wrong track. 81%. Democrats, 54% of Democrats think the country is on the wrong track. Those are high numbers on both sides. Do we know why this outlook is so dismal?
Yeah, look, I think a lot of it has to do with the state of the economy. We are still dealing with inflation. There's a lot of economic uncertainty going forward, and we know that that typically is a big indicator when it comes to voters, being asked what direction they think the country is going in. I don't think it's that surprising that the Republican side is up to the 80s because we know that obviously there's a Democratic president in power, so there's going to be some pushback to that. But with over half of Democrats saying they think it's on the wrong track, that is kind of telling. It's obviously lower than the 80%, but it shows that there's a real concern there.
Absolutely. All right. Julia Manchester live in Washington. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.